Hello and welcome to this demonstration on creating variables. In this video, you will learn to create variables from the Variables panel, Properties panel, and the body of activities in Studio. So, let's begin. This will be shown by creating two variables, first, a string, and second, an integer. To create variables through the Variables panel, navigate to the Designer panel and click the Variables tab. You can see that the Variables panel is empty. Search for a sequence activity in the Activities panel and drag and drop it in the Designer panel. Since RPA projects can get quite complex and are often collaborative, it's a good practice to give descriptive names to activities and add annotations. Let's rename this sequence activity as variables and add an annotation to it. Navigate to the Variables panel. Click Create Variable and name it. Here, name it as username. It's a good practice to use camel case and enter a descriptive name for the variable. The name, type and scope of the variable can also be edited from this panel. Now, choose the variable type. You can select one of the types shown in the drop-down menu. To search for types of variables that are not displayed by default in the variable type list, you can click Browse for Types option and select a .NET type from the displayed window. In this case, select the string option as you are creating a string variable. The scope input field determines the container in which the variable will be available. The default value sets an initial value for the variable when the workflow is started. So in this way, you can create a string variable through the Variables panel. Now, let's start creating variables through activities. Search for message box activity in the Activities panel and drag and drop two message box activities into the sequence activity. Rename the first message box activity as int marks. Right-click the first message box activity's text area and select Create Variable from the context menu. You can also use Ctrl+K as a shortcut key to create a variable. Enter a variable name, int marks, after setVar. Hit Enter key to save the variable. Navigate to the Variables panel and change its variable type to int32 for integer. Enter 60 as its default value. So in this way, you can create an integer variable from the body of an activity. Now, let's create variables through the Properties panel. Rename the second message box activity as firstName. Click the second message box activity. Navigate to its Properties panel and right-click its text property from the Properties panel. From the context menu, select Create Variable. You can also use Ctrl+K as a shortcut key to create a variable. Enter variable name, firstName, after setVar. Hit Enter key to save the variable. Now, go to the Variables panel. Change its variable type to string. And enter Matthew as its default value. Make sure that the text entered as string is in double quotes. So in this way, you can create a string variable through the Properties panel. Click Save to save the project. Now select Run from the Debug File menu on the Design ribbon to run the project. As you can see on the screen, the first variable, int marks, is displayed with default value 60, which was assigned when the variable was created. Click OK. Next, appears the first name variable with Matthew as the default value. Click OK. This brings us to the end of this demonstration. It is encouraged that you try these steps and create the variables on your own. Thank you for watching.